What's up, everybody? It's your favorite show, Get a Bucket. I'm your host, Trey, and as usual, I hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful day. Now, today we're going to talk about the WNBA expansion because a couple of y'all has been saying a few things. But before we get more into that, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, comment, tell anyone about the show, trying to get the ratings up a little bit, just a little bit. But like I said, we're going to talk about the WNBA expansion. Now, some of y'all on my pages have been saying, well, the expansion is not really going to be as good as I'm thinking and everybody else, right? And I hear you. I hear you. Matter of fact, I get it. Because you might be thinking, well, based on what happened in the past, history repeats itself. So I get it. I get it. Now, y'all might be wondering, well, what happened in the past? Well, that's why we're here to talk about the history right quick of the expansion. So, as we can see on the screen, the WNBA was founded in 1997. Okay, now we had 8 teams: my Sparks, the Houston Comets, the Cleveland Rockers, the Phoenix Mercury, the New York Liberty, the Sacramento Monarchs, the Charlotte Sting, and the Utah Stars. Those were the 8 teams that were at the beginning. All right, they was at the beginning. Now, since that time, going up to 2000. We had about 16 total teams. And that's been the most teams the WNBA has had and at one time. All right. Good times. Good times. Anytime you need a payment. Good times. Like I promise you, those were good times. We lost 4 teams from 2000 to like what? 2009? So I hear you guys when you're saying the expansion's not going to go as well as we think it might. Because we've already expanded. We went from 8 to 16 to 12. I hear you. But let's factor into, well, we've had some rebrands. All right. And some of these teams might be making a U-turn. Okay. They might be making a comeback. So because of that, and you also got to remember too, we're in a trend where WNBA is trending upwards, okay? Like this is a nice little situation that the WNBA is in. Because of that, as you can see, we're going from 12 teams to 18. And keep in mind that 12 does not include the Golden State Valkyries, who are currently in playoff contention. Now, we could talk about how there are less teams, how people talk about there are 8 teams back in the day. Oh, well, everybody could get to playoffs. All right, cool. You could try to make that the case for the Valkyries. They still hooping, though. They're playing who's in front of them. So again, ladies and gentlemen, there's no real reason why we can't expect these new teams to come up and perform pretty well. Pretty quickly, too, by the way. Like some of these rebranded teams in the NBA, they did pretty well pretty soon. Remember OKC? They're champs now, right? They went from Seattle to OKC, and we're doing pretty well with Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook. So again, new teams forming, expanding. You get to see new talent, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing. But again, with the expansion has not come. So let's talk about the future impacts that the expansion might have. Now, for me, I do like the fact that the expansion is going to be bringing in new talent. Okay, like I said, 18 teams, ladies and gentlemen. We have, of course, the Golden State Valkyries, which we're now including, but that's not part of the 5 that this article is talking about. You got the Toronto Tempo and the Portland Fire. They come in 2026. You got the Connecticut Sun becoming a team in Boston. That's supposed to happen as early as 2027. Then we got the Cleveland Rockers probably making a return 2028. The Detroit Shock probably making a return in 2029. And I'm saying probably because of the last names, the Rockers and the Shock. They probably going to bring back the names. Then the Philadelphia Blitzes? I don't know. I'm basing this off of the owners because that's what it seems to be like. But either way, Philly getting the team 2030. Ladies and gentlemen, like, I get that that there might be some CBA concerns. We're hearing lockouts, right? Rest assured, the WNBA is going to continue. The women are going to get paid their worth, but it's not going to be an obscene amount too. We got to work towards the number that they probably actually want. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not behind the scenes. I don't know the exact number that they want, but I did think when they got the initial deal done, let's play for about 3 seasons and show that the league is valued at what it is, and you can then tax later on, right? All right, cool. So this 60 additional roster spots by 2030. Ladies and gentlemen, I genuinely do like that. Okay? Because when I'm looking at this right here, again, we're talking about 18 teams later on. 13 teams right here. They cool. But again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about 60 additional roster spots by 2030. We're talking about new opportunities. Imagine the trade deadline just passed, right? Well, what about some of the players that got waived? Couldn't they be on teams now? Like, don't we have new opportunities? Aren't you excited to hear these names called? Because again, let's think of like a Kayla Thornton for an example, right? Like I think you all know Kayla Thornton fairly decently, right? If you don't, here she is. Well, Kayla Thornton was on the Liberty, okay? Pete, actually, before we scroll down, All-Star one time and a WNBA champ 2024. Let's go to her stats right fast. 2024 stats: 6 points, three rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. Like those are solid numbers for the role that she played. But this next season, well, she's able to actually be more of a star. And well, she gave an all-star performance. So again, ladies and gentlemen, some of these players just need the opportunity to actually showcase what their real worth is. And a lot of times on teams, you don't. Everybody has roles. And unless you that person, or unless you get the right timing, hey, you might just have to be a role player, champ. You might have to be what Kayla Thornton was 2024. That she became a champion off of that. 2025, we look at Kayla Thornton a little bit differently. Hey, Kayla, you might be able to lead your team to a playoffs. Because the Valkyries in their debut season, they were about to do that. How about in a situation like the Lynx had with Brandy Reed? Okay, now Brandy Reed, if y'all peep, is a one-time All-Star, ladies and gentlemen. And y'all see that the picture's not there. All right, cool. I get you. So for those of y'all who's wondering who Brandy Reed is, this Brandy right here. That's Brandy. So I hope y'all getting a good glimpse. All right, but Brandy Reed, I bring her up, ladies and gentlemen, because this girl, she was part of the 1999 expansion draft, okay? And then became an all-star. I don't know if y'all peeping these trends right now. The expansion draft, then shortly after, all-star berth. Like Kayla Thornton, all-star berth, 2025. Right as the expansion draft hit. Brandy Reed, she had the expansion draft. Then you got the all-star berth in 2000. Are we peeping a little trend? MVP discussion even. Like, ladies and gentlemen, that's not, y'all see the MVP discussion right here. Y'all, like, come on now. That's not bad. That's not bad. But more importantly, 19 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and a block on 51, 42, 90 splits. Brandy Reed, you might be wondering why you ain't heard of her too much. That was because of disciplinary actions. So I do hear you. That has nothing to do with the expansion draft, though. Like, that has everything to do with Brandy Reed, the player. Because, again, these players' mindsets they have a chip on their shoulder. They're trying to showcase their actual value now. They have the opportunity to do so. Again, Brandy Reed, 5 points to then 16. That's pure opportunity. That's pure opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. Again, Kayla Thornton, same thing. 5 points to 14. That's pure opportunity. So mindset goes a long way. Or, what about this? Let's look at some of these current teams, right? What about some of the new teams the teams now that we admire? The big trios, right? The big stars of today's game. What happens when they get older? What happens if the young guns start to usurp the league? Like, we already saw 3 rookies starting or play like being in the All-Star game. We got some young players in the All-Star game already. Every year for the last 3-4 seasons, a rookie has been at least entering the All-Star game. That's nothing to scoff at. You may want to pay attention. Out with the old, in with the new. Well, these old guns gonna have to go somewhere. These new teams might be places that could bolster a new super team. Imagine the Philadelphia whatevers having a new super team. Imagine Boston becoming or changing from Connecticut and becoming a new super team, or being able to form a new super team real quick just because of the name. Imagine that. I'm just saying, ladies and gentlemen, you gotta peep these players' mindsets from the expansion draft. Maybe they want to revitalize their careers. There's a bevy of reasons why new teams can really work out. But again, though, I understand why I hear why people say the expansion draft isn't as good. Because again, going back to the history, we have lost some people. We have lost some teams along the way. But ladies and gentlemen, if we can't make a gamble now, especially with the WNBA trending upwards, I don't know when we can. There's way too much talent coming in. There's about 30, there's 36 women that get drafted every year. Not a lot of them actually play. So you mean to tell me we can't make more WNBA teams? Come on now. That's crazy. Hell, the roster spots are already 12 right now. Can we bump it up to 15? That would be nice. Just saying. So again, ladies and gentlemen, I do hear you on the expansion draft. On the expansion, maybe not going as well as you think because of the history. Got to be a little more optimistic about that. But I mean, I hear it too, though. So, ladies and gentlemen, that does conclude the episode. But I am curious. What's your take on the WNBA expansion draft? I've talked positively about it. Next time, I'll probably talk more negatively just to balance it out. But I gotta say though, as a sports fan, y'all see the jersey, y'all see the sweatshirt. Hey, bro, I like it. I genuinely do. But I'm curious what y'all thoughts are about the expansion overall. But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time we have. So please make sure to, one, continue to support the WNBA. We gonna need it because we trying to get these expansion teams popping, right? But two, also continue to support my page. So please make sure you like, subscribe, comment, tell anyone about the show. My name is Trey. I'm the host of Get a Bucket. Hope you all are having a good one. Take care.